All right.
Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Royal again with the Student Success Series with Paternity University. I'm here with Richard, aka Richie, aka the man with the plan on Twitter. Uh, Richie, man, Richard, how you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. No complaints. Beautiful day outside. So just chilling, man. Enjoying life. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. I like that art behind you, man. That's pretty dope. Where'd you get that from?
Thank you. It's an artist name. He's out of UK. Let me find it real quick. I can't pronounce it. It starts with a T.
Okay.
But if you follow me on IG, I post this stuff literally all the time, just because I just like collected it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's really dope.
Okay, for sure, man, for sure. So Richie, man, what do you do? Because it seems like you do a lot of things. People follow you on Twitter. It seems like you do a lot of coding and developing. So like, what do you do? You know, during your day job or during your free time, what do you do?
So that's a funny question. I kind of do, like you said, I do it all. So um, I've been in, I don't know, entrepreneurship for I guess 6, 7 years now. Started out doing photography. Started out doing like landscapes, and then got into portrait work and stuff like that. And then moved up to New York, and then was doing that for a while. And then obviously the pandemic hit, and so I've been just doing, while I was building up my photography business, I picked up these skills along the way. So like SEO, that's one of the main things I started doing because I wanted to get seen and heard and all that good stuff. So put time into that. Then I moved into web development, but more so just like building stuff on website platforms like Squarespace, WordPress, Webflow. And then just recently, starting this year, and I mean, I've done it before a little bit, but I got really deep into coding just because I see where the tech landscape is going. And I was like, I got to get this bag. So I was like, let me get into coding. It's something I want to live a strictly remote lifestyle. So, just pick up skills along the way where I can do that, travel, still get paid, so that's kind of like what I do. Yeah. So coding, photography, building up businesses. That's probably the main three things that I do.
Building up businesses. So then with that, like I said, you like to build up businesses, you're entrepreneurial. What got you interested in the paternity testing business of all things that you could have been interested in or could have come across? What stuck with that?
Yeah, so I remember seeing you on Twitter talking about it a lot, and I was like, this sounds interesting. Never thought about it, paternity testing business. Then I was like, there's always people that are pregnant. There's always people that, just need it. So I was like, let me look into it. And I think you did a live one time where you were just going over everything behind the business. And then I started looking at those profit margins, and I was like, oh, this kind of makes sense. Like I can see this. So after that I bought your course. I got my business partner Russ, and then we just developed a plan to build up Game Day DNA, which is our paternity testing service based out of Delaware, and we got that rolling. I think we started doing the work, behind the scenes work, I want to say November. We didn't fully launch until late January. So this is what, almost 3 months in now.
Yeah. And you've been doing, at least in the Slack channel, you talk about you've been doing a lot of like prenatals and stuff like that. So you been using your SEO and web development skills, like you said, to build up the company on the back end before you kind of went public with it first? Was that your strategy?
So that was the strategy. Once I realized, so my game plan for me, I guess I could speak for both of us, but for me and Russ, we were like, okay, this is a space. Like me personally, if I get into a space, I don't want to be average at it. I want to dominate it. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm not getting into business to like have it just to have it. It's like, it doesn't make sense. So it's like, what's the best way that, we can have this central location here, but then also do tests around the country. So I looked at DDC's model, and then I realized, once you partner up with them, you have their network. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, this makes sense. We could potentially do clients all over the country. And so I was like, all right, so what's the highest profit margins, depending on the test? And I was like, oh, non-invasive prenatal makes sense. And so what I did, just for my web development, and like you said, the SEO, is I took all of those couple months and I built up pages for literally each state, city, whatever you could think of. So, like as our SEO matures, we're easily found. We can do stuff, like people call you, hey, I want to test here, here, here. Go into the DDC system,
Yep.
put that in, make that happen. Easy, quick sell, never see them, never, what I mean? All we doing is having a casual conversation, going about it that way. And so, yeah, I think it was really good for us to build that up first before we went live, because I've seen, not in just this company, but just other companies in general, people try to do all that stuff on the latter end. And it's like, that's something you should have taken upon, just so you don't have to worry about it after that. Once the maturation of the SEO goes, it's like,
yeah,
it's boom after that.
That SEO is wild. Like years ago, 2013, I helped my mom set up her website and her Google My Business. Granted, I am not an SEO expert like you are, but I set it up to where certain things were, the keywords were in certain headlines, certain things were, et cetera, et cetera. And now here we are 9 years later, my mom does zero advertising whatsoever, none. And she just gets calls just day in, day out, just because that Google My Business, those reviews, the website is just being on Google for that amount of time. Like you said, it takes time, but once it pops off, once it really pops, so if you did it for every single state in the country with certain cities and all that stuff, and you have the keywords, especially for that, if you're focusing on non-invasive prenatal, which by the way, for those listening, non-invasive prenatal is a paternity test when the woman is pregnant. And so those we charge in 4 figures for that. And you can make a pretty solid profit margin off of that, and you never see the client. And so, yeah, if you're doing what you're doing and you basically have the foundation set up, the SEO set up, and you have the infrastructure set up to where you can make it happen in each state, you're going to be doing very, very, very well. I'm quite sure, if not already, within the next year, as that SEO really, really like starts to kick in. So, man, good work, man. That's dope.
Appreciate it.
I like that approach, man. I like that approach. So, what was your first test that you ever did? What was that like?
First test I did, it was a guy out of New Mexico. We coordinated it. It was actually fairly simple. Once I realized how simple it was to literally get his zip code, pull up the collection facilities in DDC, and then just call somebody and be like, hey, you got a kid? I got somebody that wants to. That's when I was like, oh, I was like, oh, I could do this all day long. I was like, oh, hell no. Yeah. It's like, for me, I've never done a test. We have somebody that does that locally in Delaware for us.
Okay.
So I've never seen a kit. I've never seen I don't see anything. All I do is right now my main objective is answering phones.
Yep.
Russ handles stuff on the back end. So like we're about to get our BBB stuff together now, which I think is going to boost us up even higher, because I remember I had a call maybe like a month ago. Somebody wanted to schedule a prenatal, and she was asking me all these questions, and I'm answering them like, off the top of my head, I got everything. She's like, I haven't found you on Better Business Bureau. And I was like, well, there's a process. I was like, we can't just like get the badge. I was like, we just started opening. I was like, we're going through that process, but and I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, that's something.
Maybe looking, they check for that type of stuff, especially.
Yeah, it makes sense because if you're about, it makes sense if you're about to spend $1,600-$1,800. Like, you're like, yo, is this company legit? Like,
yes.
And I get that.
Yeah, exactly, man. I got mine. Now, granted, I've had none of my clients, ask if I was, but it's good to have it. And just in case they want to do further research, because if they're going to be spending between $1,600 and $1,800, especially if they're getting blood drawn and it's for something as serious as a paternity test, you need to be on as many platforms and verified as possible through the BBB. And as well as BBB can also run display ads for you as well, if you want to do that. But so you haven't, that's dope, because you have essentially skipped the I wouldn't say you have skipped the part where you're actually swabbing people and trying to figure out and you're doing a chain of custody. You have gotten to the point where you can scale. You are ready to really truly scale on a way higher level because you built that foundation of SEO and web dev and all that stuff on the back end first. Because essentially this is an infinitely scalable business. I mean, would you agree?
I definitely agree. Just because, yeah, man, like once I told myself when I was getting into it, I was like, I'm not gonna, I don't feel like, I remember I was talking to Justin, he's in your, obviously, Beeves.
Yeah.
And he was telling me stories about how he was doing swabs and stuff. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I was like, like, there has to be a way. And I was like, oh, we can just outsource everything. And so we just, like I said, we found local people to do that stuff. And it's just been there. We haven't had no hiccups. Everybody's professional. I haven't had any issues. But I knew beginning on, I was like, I don't want to like personally do the testing.
That's tough. Now, is this something that you want to eventually build to sell, or do you want to kind of just build it and keep keep the cash flow kind of thing going? I'm just curious.
No, good question. I think so. I'm 32. I'm at the age where I do a lot of investing and stuff like that. I want to, the way I see things going, the way things are elevating, what I see from day to day, I think we can build this up to sell just off of the paternity business alone without, doing dot testing and all that other stuff, fingerprinting stuff. So yeah, right now, like we're definitely focused on cash flow and stuff like that. But if, somebody comes up with an offer, because, if we're doing $250,000 a year, it's like, I mean, there's you have to weigh your options. It's like, we could do it again, or we just keep it and build it up a little more and then eventually sell it. So I'm kind of open to either or, honestly.
Yeah. And it won't be difficult to get to $250,000 a year. It's really just having those systems set up. Like I said, you weren't on that call, but I believe you were aware of it. Where my mentor came on to speak to all the paternity university students. And he's, last year he said, I did 365,000 last year and I'm on track to do 700,000 just in paternity testing.
I was on there actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I was on there. I just didn't say anything, but he definitely was dropping a lot of gems, which was really dope.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like it's not an extremely high tech, extremely like, you're not doing Web3 development stuff. Like it's not that difficult. It's, can you answer the phone? Can you help people solve their problems essentially? And do you have the infrastructure to reach out, like you said, to outsource this stuff? If you can do that, you're fine. You'll make money. And that's dope, man. So what are you, I mean, you kind of, geared your business, it seems, more towards the non-invasive prenatals. And you said you were kind of selling those like hotcakes. So, I mean, how has that part of the business been doing, like the non-invasives? Are those most of your customers now?
Pretty much, yeah. So, which I'm shocked by as well, just because of the high number. You're like, oh, we might sell a couple of these, but like, I literally get calls daily. I literally had a lead from North Carolina call me this morning. This is like 8 something in the morning. Was like, hey, I want to get a non-invasive prenatal by Monday or Tuesday. I was like, oh. You know what I mean? Like, it's that crazy. So, they've been doing well. I had an issue before where like, and this is all about, starting at the beginning and just learning stuff, where it was like a lot of, like you said, these prices are high. So what I started doing was, all right, if you want to do a test, we have the option of a payment plan. We'll take $4.99 up front, do the rest, when your test results are ready. And the reason we do it like that is because, we started doing it like that is because that covers the collector fee. And then that's our profit right there. So whatever else is just that test. So we don't have to worry about that afterwards. So once we started doing that and offering that more, things are starting to pick up even more.
Yeah, you give that option, especially and of course that's in the course. I'm not going to talk about it here on this, but Richie, you know what I'm talking about. We have multiple different partners where you can go to offer that type of test. You give folks the options because they may not have $1,800 to drop right then and there. But if you give them the option of putting at least a third of it down, that's more palatable, especially for a non-invasive, man. Like a lot of these companies out there, they don't do non-invasive prenatals. They really don't. They only do the invasive, where, for the listeners here, that is when an OBGYN inserts a needle into their belly button. It's really uncomfortable. And that's the usual, when I get these calls, and people asking for non-invasive prenatals, well, I get about 3 of those a day on average, in the cities that I'm in. That's why does it cost so much? Well, it's because of this and this and this. If you call somewhere else, they say they can do it, and it might be cheaper, but it might be an invasive one. And they're like, whoa, I don't want to do that. That's the common objections.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you can, in this business, if you do what I think 25 prenatals a month, you're doing just prenatals, you're doing about $37,000 a month or something like that on average, 37,000, 40,000 ish a month. And then after the fees, you're probably taking home 12, 13,000 or something like that, just off of one type of test. So
that's all you need, man.
Just off of
my motto is I'm trying to get one a day.
Yeah.
One a day, or at least like 3 to 4 a week.
Yeah.
If we do that, I mean,
yeah,
sky's the limit.
Yeah. And you're just coordinating and that's what I tell them, hey, I tell them our role in this is to coordinate. We're the agency that oversees the entire process. That's what I tell, that's what I tell them, they're like, okay, cool. Like they just want their answers. They don't care, but as long as you're professional and know how to communicate. So that's dope, man. Where do you see Game Day DNA by the end of the year, or, by 2023? Where do you see you all at?
So we're about to hit 10K here probably tomorrow.
Dope.
And the way things are going, I think we might see 100K by end of year.
Dope.
Just because like our SEO numbers, so like even from March to April, they've tripled. Yeah, which is amazing. Just on Google alone. Yeah. Bing probably the same way. What else? Yeah, I'm just, because I like looking at numbers. I like looking at, seeing behaviors. I like 85% of people view our stuff through mobile. So like, I literally just last night, I was like, oh, let me tweak some things on the site just because I saw that number. And I was like, let me make it more easily accessible for people on mobile and put some things here that might have not been there before. That just makes things easier for everybody, just the whole process. Because when people call, I want them to be like, hey, I want this. And they've already know the price. They already know. Yeah. We have that on our website now. Like before I didn't have it on there. And then I was like, oh no, this will make the process a lot more easier. Like people are calling because they know exactly what they want, as opposed to like have me trying to sell them when it's like, yo, you called me. I don't know. Like, I don't know your needs. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah. And also like, have our prices on there just for, just to see, like, because I know I had somebody call yesterday who was just calling around and seeing different price points for a non-invasive. And I told her our numbers, and she was like, oh, that's one of the lowest I've heard. And I was like, you heard more? I was like, yeah. And so we had like a real conversation. I was like, hey, this is why it's like this. But I was like, if you're seeing people that are doing more, I don't know what to tell you. I was like, that's just insane to me. I was like, we could charge more, but it doesn't make sense.
Well, the other folks talking what, 2,000, 2,300 type thing?
I was like, yo, you heard 2,000. In my head, I was like, damn, we could be charging 2 G's for this. But I was like, nah, let me keep it chill for right now. But I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently it is.
I think it depends on the demographic. That's another thing in this business too, is demographics. As I noticed with the students in Paternity University, each student in their respected city has different demographics, and they have different, questions that each demographic asks them, and different approaches. Like one student is in Baltimore and they're all talking about how a $199 paternity test is too much money. And I'm like, that's that demographic. Well, meanwhile, over here, me way out in West Texas, people don't blink an eye to drop $1,700 on a prenatal paternity test. Like, it's okay, cool. Like,
exactly.
It's just interesting. And I'm looking forward to seeing, because you develop your SEO, you're getting calls from all over the place, what those different demographics, how their different questions go, or what their responses are to your prices. You know what I'm saying? Because your price is your price. It's set. You don't change your prices. I don't know what to do for somebody in Wisconsin. Somebody went, well, yeah, I'm in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and somebody else said it's going to be $200. Well, my price is my price. So
Yeah, I've never. I haven't had a. Matter of fact, I had a grandparent test the other day, and they were like, "Oh yeah, somebody else quoted us $299," and I was like, "Well, if you think that's a better price point for you," I was like, "You should go that way." But
Yeah,
I was like, "Ours is 350," and
yeah,
then they eventually bought it from us. But I was just like, "I'm not about to budge off
yeah,
of," you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
You don't do the
no,
price matching stuff. It's just,
no, this isn't Walmart, man. Like, no,
yeah,
I'm not doing that.
yeah, yeah. As what's another interesting thing is, and it definitely seems like you're doing it, educating the
Yes,
client on what they're getting, because some companies, whether they're the big franchises or some of the independent agencies, I don't think they educate their clients on what they're getting. For example, I had a client from North Carolina call last week and was like, "Hey, I'm looking to get a court admissible test. I bought a home kit from some company, and I learned later that you can't use the home kits for court." And he was like, "They didn't tell me that, and when I tried to call them back to get my money back, they didn't answer the phone." And I was like, "Dang." And I had to walk him through. I had to educate, hey man, this test is one that you use for court. This test you can't use for court. And then he said he called another franchise, which I won't name on here, and they were just like, "Yeah, we don't do court admissible tests. So here's assurance DNA." They that other company gave that client my number, which
that's crazy.
I was just like, oh. So I said all that to say, educating the clients, communicating. I mean, there's really no competition out here. It's really not.
It really isn't. And I think we go above and beyond. Like, so like when somebody calls us, we obviously walk them through the process.
Mhm.
Even like I let them know when we ship the kit to the collection facility, I let them know
Mm,
when we get results. Like I'm keeping them in the flow. So like,
mhm,
they spent all this money. They want to know like, when stuff gets from A to B to the
mhm,
results. So I just make
mhm.
that as pleasant as possible. And I haven't had an issue so far. Like
Good.
everything has been smooth.
I say, and when in doubt, I think I say it in the course, when in doubt, over communicate. Essentially, like you
Yeah.
said, let them know. I mean, yeah, they just dropped $1,700, or they just dropped $200. So even if you sell them a home kit, they need to. Hey, what's the freaking tracking number? Hey, your
Yeah.
stuff. Hey, we me and my wife, we made an instruction sheet that we include in the kit, a special instruction sheet aside from the DDC instructions that say, "Thank you, value client, for buying this. This is how you do this. This is what you do. Royal and Brittany, thank you so much." Boom, put it in there. Like
So
just
we actually, that's funny that you say that. So we started getting a lot more, well, a couple more, I wouldn't say a lot more, a couple of more informational kits, just like people just ordering through the site.
okay.
So whenever they do that, let them know when it ships, put the tracking number in. And then what I did was on the website, I put like home DNA test like instructions over like how to do stuff. And I did the exact same thing, but it's just on the website. And I send them that link as well. But like, hey, this is how you do XYZ. If you have any further questions, just reach out. I'm more than happy to help you.
That's
That's
dope.
it.
That's
Yeah.
dope. That's dope. So the question is, do you think, you bought the course, right? You went through the course. I'm gonna assume yes. Do you think the course really gave you the blueprint you needed to, get started, get going, and then you kind of spread your wings from there? That's what it seems like. Like you out doing your thing and crushing it. Do you think
Yeah,
the course really
it
helped?
was definitely a very helpful, like, if this is what if you want to get into this business, this is a starter kit to do it.
Mm,
And then after that, I think that it's just on the person on how successful they want to be after that.
mhm,
If you just want to dominate your local area, do that. If you
mhm,
want to be bigger than that, do that as well. It's going to take work, but it's possible.
mhm.
We started like I remember I think with the website went live, and I think we were waiting on our Google My Business page, and we started getting calls already.
Mm.
Had no kits, had no. I just had to like, I
Wow.
had to refer them to other people because I didn't know at the beginning like, oh, just call DDC and just set it up. I didn't know
Mm.
that at first, so we probably missed out on like $5,000 just off of that.
What?
Yeah, like I was shocked. I was getting places from Ohio, this, that, and the third. I was like, yo, I was like, I ain't
Wow.
spending no money. Like, we ain't doing nothing. Like, it was just there. And I was like, oh man. And then now, like, you can call from wherever. I'm gonna make
You
it
got it.
happen. I'm gonna
Yeah.
set it.
You have your
I'm gonna set it
distribution
up.
system set up. You have everything. So like
Yeah.
the demand is there. Like this is an industry, like people, they just don't know, man. They just don't know like this industry as a business that you can do. The demand is there. The competition, fraternity university students, we don't compete with each other. We support each other. But other than that, the competition is nil. It's basically whoever can get in front of the client and whoever can pick up the phone first and provide good customer service.
That's literally it.
That's literally it.
It's all about answering phone.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. I've had, like I said, I've had calls from all over.
Wow.
I think we almost hit about every state. I had an inquiry from Hawaii.
Wow.
Just like somebody sent an email, but like, hey, I'm interested in XYZ. And I was like, like,
wow.
You know what I mean? But like stuff like that, like
wow.
you can from all over, as long as you communicate and just let people know, just be a genuine person, try to help them out as much as you can. And, you know, they'll deal with you. Yeah. But yeah, it's been cool so far. We're eventually maybe next month or the month after that, because we're still testing as far as like marketing goes, like just different things. Like before with the Google My Business, we had to go into the Google My Business page. And now I was like, let me put it to one of these website pages, and it converted even more. So I was like, okay, this is the approach we're going to go. Started up another ad today for, you know, getting ready for the next week. And we're going to hit some other different markets. But like, yeah, it's been cool. But it's just all about tweaking, and then you'll find your rhythm. Then you'll know exactly like, you know, what to do, how to do it. And you just maximize it from there.
Yep. And then you'll get to know eventually your ideal customer avatar, all that stuff. I mean, you know, it's really interesting because you're more focused nationwide. I am more focused in the 3 areas that I am in. So I am getting to know the ideal. Well, I know the one in El Paso, the ideal customer profile in El Paso. And then I'm getting to know the ones as I collect more data and what people want in the other 2 cities that I'm in. So I love to see that, man. I love to see the growth. Before we wrap up, man, do you have any other, any other tips for anybody that's looking to get into this business? I mean, I think we kind of said it, but do you have any other tips or suggestions for anybody looking to get into this business?
Me personally, I would say, whether it's this business or any other one, realize what your goal is at first. As far as like, am I just going to master locally? Am I going to try to take over nationwide? And then build up before you start spending ad money. I feel like a lot of people get into the business and they just start throwing out ad money and not looking at SEO first. Like that's the foundation. The ad money is just extra. You know, like we still, like, I don't advertise on Sundays, but like I said, we got a call today. That's just from SEO. I don't market to North Carolina. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I don't have a virtual address in North Carolina. That's just me making sure my SEO is good and somebody finding me just off of a Google search. So, you know, SEO is very important in any business. Definitely make sure you have a solid foundation there first before you start introducing marketing dollars, because essentially you're just burning through money. Because if you don't have the money and your SEO is trash, nothing's gonna happen. But if you're like, oh no, we don't need extra 500 for marketing this month, let's just focus on our SEO, and you see that gradually build up to where, like I said, in places that I don't even market to, they're still calling me. People are calling me in Ohio, and DDC is in Ohio, like they're based there. You know what I mean? I just set up a test there for, I think tomorrow, actually. Yeah, tomorrow, 1 p.m. We got a test right outside of Ohio for somebody. And it's like, you could have called DDC, but you called us. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like that right there just shows you alone that, you know, stuff is starting to pop up, and it's only going to get better with time. And I think as long as we have, we answer phones and give great customer service, I think we'll be here for a while. You'll be good to go. For sure, Richie, man. Thank you. Where can folks find you, man? I think you're pretty active on Twitter. If you want folks to find you, where can they find you? Rembert Designs on Twitter and IG. Like I said, Game Day DNA is our paternity testing service. If you want to go check it out, see what we did, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. My name is Roll. Look, all the good stuff that we're talking about here, the blueprint is on paternityuniversity.com. Can't go wrong. Lays out everything for you, about 2 hours worth of content.
you cannot go wrong with the blueprint. And it's the only place currently in the world where you can learn this information. And you see how Richie is taking off here. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Until the next time, the next Student Success Series. Peace.